Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back. I'm back finally with your favourite show of the week, Talking Tactics. And yet again, we're talking about another victory that takes Villa into the final weekend of the season with the opportunity to get into the Champions League. It was a 2-0 victory against Tottenham Hotspur. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, help us continue on the road to 6,000 subscribers. We've gone past 5,600, so thank you so much for your support. Getting loads of new subscribers, which is just fantastic. So please do like and help spread the word of the channel and get your comments and your thoughts on that victory and tactically how we managed it. Gareth, it's been a little while, mate. Great to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, good. Yeah, good to be back. Yeah, I thought it was fairly comfortable. I was quite surprised. Let's be honest, it's not so long ago that we would have feared a game like that. But I think we did well.
Yes, we did, mate. We did. And it was one of those, I think Tottenham tried to sort of catch us out a little bit first 15 minutes or so. Villa maybe got a little bit tense as the game went on, but you kind of knew as the game wore on that our class would show and then Tottenham sort of resolve would eventually drop out and that's what happened. Comfortable 2-0 victory in the end.
Yes, exactly what happened. Exactly right. And I thought Onana was brilliant. I thought sort of did a Tielemans role for us really nicely. Yeah, I thought to a man they were decent. I thought Spurs were quite poor, I've got to say. One eye on the cup final, probably, obviously, but yeah, we got it done. We've just got to keep winning. That's all we can do.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Well, let's have a look at the tail of the tape, the stats. Anything that sort of stuck out to you here, mate, in terms of the match stats?
Yeah, really stood out was the average length for the goal kick for me. We played short a lot of the time, which was quite unusual because we're used to seeing sort of 23, 24 metres for us, and we're looking at just 6. So we're playing out really close to with Pau Torres in the main. 10 corners as well. You're looking at double the amount of passes, 77% spent in the final third of the possession. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It is. And I mentioned this to Sam on our match reaction show, and with Tottenham, obviously they've got both eyes set on the Europa League final. I can't even say one eye set on it. But did it surprise you a bit the way they approached it? Because for me, like, if you're going into this game, you'd think, right, let's have a go. Let's play sort of free. How Ange talked about, that's who we are, mate. We'll just go for it. We'll just go for every game. But then they just played 11 men behind the ball, and it just seemed a little bit strange.
Yeah, especially I think my take on it is that when you're playing in a game ahead of a cup final, surely you are trying to play your way into that cup final team. Now, rightly or wrongly, you might not be able to get into it, but you'd still try and play your way into it. None of them actually even did that, did they? Like at all. I was quite sort of surprised by Mikey Moore, especially who I'm a big fan of. I used to watch him a lot for the Tottenham youth sides at Stevenage, and he was really impressive back then. But they just didn't do it at all. Even Basuma, when he came on, wasn't so good and everything else like that. But I thought, I agree with you. They were so passive and tried to sort of catch us on the counter. And it just didn't work for them at all, did it?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was, once Cash sort of got used to it, because it was basically a hoof over the top to Son to run onto. And yes, he had a couple of efforts, but like you said, they had nothing else apart from that. And Mikey Moore, they didn't get him on the ball at all to show his trickery. Tell, was a little trying to come out a little bit to the one of the flanks, but didn't get him dropping in deep and any players running in behind him. It just didn't seem like there was anything. Like there was just nothing. It was like, right, as soon as Villa get it, drop behind the ball, and then we'll just hoof it to Son.
I can't say any more. It's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. It was just basically get it, and we're going to see that on the passing networks as well in a minute.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get it out to the left. We'll play it across the back a little bit. We'll try and force Villa into a full sense of security. We're going to go down the right to Mikey Moore. We're not. We're going to go long to Sonny all the time. And it's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Anything from Villa there that you noticed?
Yeah, a lot of stuff went through Pau Torres, and that's why he's in the team. That's why we bought him. We've spoke about it before, is to try and get him involved in that build-up play where he is really, really good. And again, we'll point more to that as well later on. But yeah, a lot of Pau Torres, a lot of Ian Matson. Used to seeing a Matty Cash a little bit, but what is it with the chop backs all the time?
Yeah, I know. I would say though, there was one time where he actually turned to the crowd and said, "Look, just calm it," because maybe that he's going a little bit over the top to it. But yeah, I just think he's good enough to do it. Like, he's good enough. You look at that Munoz for Crystal Palace, and Cash gets in those spaces. He could play those crosses, first time in low crosses into the box, and I think Watkins would certainly get more chances. I don't know if he'd get more goals, but he'd get more chances.
I mean, he started as a right winger, Matty Cash. So he's obviously got some ability. Maybe it's been coached out of him a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that is his role, is to try and chop back, is to try and get that width to then go back inside so that we can go out and through the left. I don't know. But sometimes you just want him to just at least have a go.
Yeah, definitely. Passing sonars, looking at the direction and frequency. Anything you noticed here for Villa?
Yeah, I mean, just nice and high, basically. Everyone's nice and high, aren't they? And you've seen a lot of the key players that are sort of moving about in central positions. But I thought we would see a little bit more from Pau Torres here, actually, in terms of sort of going vertical, but wasn't to be. But I think it is what it is.
Yeah. And then Tottenham, anything to write home about?
No, it's a mess. It's just like, let's all go down the left-hand side. As we can see, everyone's gravitating towards that left-hand side.
Yeah. XG, let's talk about the shots. 18 shots, 7 on target, 3 big chances, 2 of them missed.
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, don't we? The big chance, but at least we're winning the game 2-0, I guess. But yeah, 18 shots, different volume. So it's fairly reasonably high, I guess you could say. And the 1.39 XG, we've exceeded it. So yeah, what's not to like about that, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. And it was good to see some shots from distance. I mean, I'm a big advocate for that because you never know what could happen. Deflections, keeper parries it out, and great to see Kamara scoring.
Yeah, quite surprising, wasn't it? Everyone was like, hang on, who was that? Was it him? Yeah, but it was. I mean, but we spoke about Matty Cash earlier. Another great chance from outside the box as well, by the way.
Yeah. Momentum. I mean, what do we say? Just total control, mate. I can't say anything else.
No, and our highest expected threat number for the season, by the way, at 2.48. So that's quite something for us. We don't sort of be managing the sort of the 150s, 160s. I think I've got the average at. So the 2.48 is really, really good, and we limited Tottenham to barely anything.
Yeah, and expected threat. Onana, really good game, as you said before. Asensio, again, really influential player. Wanted to really sort of make his mark on the game. And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 7 Villa players there before a Tottenham player is added.
Yeah, really good. And I spoke about Pau Torres earlier, and that's why, again, like I say, he's in the team. His passing into sort of forward areas is really quite incisive and quite sort of open and outright. He's really good at it, but I was surprised to see Onana up there. I must admit, when I plotted all this, it's quite unusual to see him with that sort of passing, but really, really good, and it just shows you the sort of game that he had.
Yeah, definitely. And the distance is covered. Asensio, look at that, 13.4 kilometers. That's probably the most he's covered in a game. Pau Torres, 19.
Incredible.
Ian Matson, 16 and a half.
Yeah.
Some of the distances there is fantastic.
Yeah, probably some of our highest of the season, again, like I say, but for Pau Torres to cover 19 kilometers in a game, it just shows you that back to front that he did. Don't forget, we talked about earlier, he was the one that was receiving the ball out from the back a lot, progressing the ball forward. It just shows you those kilometers that are included in all that. A lot of it was defensive work, but again, he's limiting then the amount that Bouba Kamara
128 touches as well. So
it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, really good, really good. And I guess we've talked about this with the squad depth and being able to utilise the squad, but also, maybe Emery's been able to put players in at different times, but also the fact that we're not playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. At the minute we've got a week off. So is that maybe having a bit more of an effect? Players are a bit fresher and are able to come in and kind of cover the distance and do more in the game.
Yeah, of course. It's exactly what it is. You're getting a little bit more rest. You're getting a bit more recuperation. They're able to recover better. But I think it's also important. That's why we do this data stuff, because it's important to see. People might not see that. They just think that Pau Torres is backwards and forwards. But that's why we do it. It just shows all these different things that are going on.
Yeah, definitely. Defensive shape. I've mentioned about Tottenham, with regards to not really putting anything into the game. But, that's just pitiful, isn't it, really?
It's really deep. It's really narrow. They're trying to sort of let Villa play in wider areas, really, which is kind of counterintuitive a lot of the time. But yeah, they're really sort of deep. You can see the sort of like the 10 players, 5 on each side. It's that's how progressive we were in our attacking. They're guarding these half space areas, which is what we want to get the ball into with the likes of Rodgers and that, of course. So, but yeah, we're nice and wide because that's the way Tottenham played. But it covers all bases from both sides almost. It just wasn't as quite counterintuitive, really, from Spurs.
Yeah. And in terms of the shots faced, Kinski 5 saves. Would he say he was disappointed with any of the shots that he didn't save?
I think the expected goals on target at 2.22, and then he prevents just 0.22 of them. I think he would be probably disappointed. Look, some of those shots are reasonably central, aren't they? The 2 goals were maybe a bit trickier for him, but I think he would look back on that and think he would have liked to have done better.
Yeah, and Emmy just one save really to make, and
yeah,
another clean sheet, and don't really talk about this the potential departure of him, but obviously not looking a bit of a farewell one at the end of the game. But we'll maybe save that for maybe some transfer specials when you're going into the data, mate. But with the results as they've gone, we're recording this Sunday evening, so Newcastle have lost to Arsenal. Nottingham Forest have beaten West Ham. Manchester City have 2 games to go. They've got Bournemouth at home, Fulham away on the final day. And it's going to be a crazy final day of the season, isn't it?
It is. The worry is Manchester City, isn't it, at the moment? I think because you would imagine that Nottingham Forest and Chelsea will take points off each other one way or the other. It's going to happen. We've just got to do our job. That's as simple as that.
Yeah. And all the permutations. I can imagine it next week. Villa will go 1-0 up, and we'll be 4th or whatever, and then Chelsea will go 1-0 up, and then Nottingham Forest will come back. There is going to be multiple changes throughout that game, and it's one of those, isn't it? By rights, with the way that Manchester United have played this season, with the form that we're in, with the game that they've got on Wednesday, we have to be going into that in confident fashion, don't we? But it's Manchester United. That's the kicker.
It's Manchester United away. That's the kicker. So depending on how they get on in that final, will they be on the beach if they win it? Will they be on the beach if they lose it? I don't know. It's really hard to call, isn't it? But the problem is like you say, it's Manchester United away.
Yeah. Well, we will be here, I'm sure, to reflect on that. Win, lose or draw. Champions League, Europa League or Europa Conference League. So, Gareth, thank you very much. This and all of the other visuals will be on where, mate? Where you posting all of that?
Yeah, we're going to put it up on at One Villa Analysis after this.
Fantastic.
Yep, at One Villa Analysis, and we'll stick some on my at Greater JC as well. Perfect stuff.
Gareth, thank you very much. Great to have you back. And we'll be back later on with transfer talks, fans forums, match preview for the big game against Manchester United. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, get your comments in as well. Help us on the road to 6,000 subscribers. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.